Small, affordable wireless audio systems are great. They make it easy to get high quality sound and put wireless audio, something that used to be prohibitively expensive, within the reach of just about anyone. But new models are released on what feels like a near monthly basis, and despite all the nifty features and capabilities introduced, every single one of these systems, as far as I'm aware, has a glaring issue. So let's get tangled up in the problem with all these wireless systems. I don't like making negative videos, so even though I am sharing a complaint here, my goal is to explain and contextualize it as clearly as I possibly can and try to offer some sort of a solution. So what is this problem that I'm talking about? All of these small wireless systems, and boy, there sure are a lot of them, have some really cool features, from built-in 32-bit float recording and microphones that are embedded within the transmitters themselves, to dual transmitter capabilities and smartphone app integration. These things can do a lot, but the one thing they can't do, and the one thing they're not designed to do, is last a long time. And I don't mean that they don't offer great battery life. What I mean is that no matter which system you buy, Rode, DJI, Deity, Hollyland, something else, whatever, none of them, as far as I'm aware, have replaceable batteries. But if they get good battery life already, why is that even a problem? Most of these wireless systems are fast charging with long-lasting batteries, and newer versions even offer charging cases, so they're pretty much always ready to go in case you ever want to use it. But despite what any pink drumming bunnies might say, their batteries don't keep going and going and going forever. A lot of variables play into overall battery health and all the different devices that we have these days, but in general, the small lithium batteries that are in these systems can really only stay optimally healthy for like a couple of years. So forgive me if I'm a bit charged up over this issue. After the batteries age, or after they go through a lot of charge cycles, their capacity diminishes, which makes the whole wireless system less reliable and less useful, and more likely to just end up in the trash. Because sometimes, like with my Deity system here, if they're not used for a long time, the batteries in these things can deplete beyond the point of no return. So this system, which works great, or is capable of working great, is actually entirely dead because it spent just a little too long sitting in a drawer. And sadly, that's the fate of all of these really awesome systems, whether it's diminished battery life that makes them impractical to use, or totally dead batteries that make them impossible to use. This is why it's so frustrating, even if the transmitter and the receiver are in perfect working condition. All of the components inside, all the microphones, all the fancy, good technology inside, even if that's in perfect working condition, they become totally useless once the battery's health fails. So that's the problem. That's why it bothers me so much. Is there a solution to this problem? There really is. It's a really simple solution, and I know you might even be tempted to go, well, Tom, what about something like an AirPod or all these other devices we have that have built-in non-changeable batteries? And my answer is, that also sucks. Like, I wish they didn't. I wish those devices had batteries you could replace, because that would make them last longer and reduce a ton of e-waste and reduce expense on you and I as customers. But when it comes to wireless audio systems specifically, in the past, if you bought a wireless mic system, you could expect it to last for years and years. In fact, right here, I've got two professional level UHF transmitting wireless systems. I have the Sennheiser EWDP and the Deity Theos. So this is my thesis on the Theos. The downside, of course, to these more professional systems is the price. At the beginning of this video, I said wireless audio used to be prohibitively expensive. The Sennheiser has an MSRP of $700, while the Deity, noting that it does have dual transmitters, has an MSRP of $1,100. This makes them way more expensive, these UHF systems, than all of these 2.4 gigahertz systems over here. And that topic right there, UHF versus 2.4 gigahertz, it's something I want to do in a separate video, because that's a really important thing to consider. But while I totally understand that the higher end features, the improved reliability, and the ability to transmit via UHF is not something I can realistically expect at the price point of these smaller 2.4 gigahertz system. And just for reference, the most expensive one that I have, and I think the most expensive one available right now, is the Rode Wireless Pro, which is a 2-transmitter system, and it has an MSRP of $400. And that's the most expensive one. You can get other ones, like the Deity one is relatively inexpensive, or the Hollyland one, you can get some for $100 to $150. The DJI one in the $200 to $300 price range. So $400 is kind of the max price point for these systems. But even with that in mind, there's really no reason that these cheaper wireless systems can't have some kind of replaceable battery, whether it's a lithium battery that you have to get directly from the manufacturer, or something more traditional like this alkaline trio I'm holding right here, or a combination of the two. Because for example, this is my Rode VideoMic Pro Plus that I got in 2018. It has a removable battery. It has a lithium ion battery from Rode that's right here, but you can also just put AA batteries right in here as well. So it can use a proprietary battery or widely available, super easy to use batteries. So as the Pro Plus's name implies, that is a huge plus because it gives this mic a much longer lifespan, and I can always replace the battery anytime, and I never have to worry about forgetting to charge it, because even in the worst case scenario where this battery is totally dead, I can just go get AA batteries from like any convenience store, pop them in the microphone, and I'm ready to go. With these systems, if I forget to charge them, I'm just totally out of luck and I have to wait to charge them. But once the batteries start failing or totally go dead, there's nothing I can do. I can't replace the battery. Maybe I could try to take it apart and figure out what battery's in here and replace it, but that is beyond my repair skill and probably not something that you could reasonably expect most consumers to do. So I know that a lot of people do love these systems because of that lower price point, but when you think of it that way, that price benefit kind of disappears pretty quickly. By the time you've purchased 2 or 3 of these 2.4 gigahertz systems, you probably could have just invested in a UHF system that will last for years and years. Because every UHF system that I'm aware of that I've ever used over many years allows you to just replace the batteries. Most of them just take AA batteries, some take AAA batteries. In the case of the Sennheiser EWDP, the receiver does have a lithium ion battery, but just like with the Rode mic, if this battery's dead, I can just pop in some AA batteries and use it that way. So that means since the battery is not an issue here, and the build quality is reliable and the internal components are so reliable, you can buy one of these systems and expect it to last you just for many, many years to come. So there are really 2 points I want to end with here, because I don't want to just complain. I want to try to offer some sort of solution and just make this topic maybe a little more talked about. Point 1 is directed at audio companies. Please, manufacturers, add replaceable batteries to your wireless audio systems, regardless of price point and whether or not they're consumer or professional. Just let us change out the batteries. And point B is directed at you, the consumer, right there. Consider how often you use wireless audio, and if you're frequently on those wireless frequencies, really consider investing in a higher end UHF system. There are a ton of benefits to these systems beyond just the battery issue, and again, kind of like I said, that's something that's probably worth its own separate video. But I totally understand, at the same time, it might not be practical to buy something like this if you're on a budget, or if you rarely use wireless audio. These little 2.4 gigahertz systems, I do think they're great. I have a bunch and I use them all the time. I definitely encourage anyone who does regular video production to have some sort of wireless audio system in their kit, because it does help you get better audio. And as I've said many times, audio is half, if not more than half, of your overall video quality. So anything that you can do to improve your audio is a really great thing. And for me, even though I have several of these systems and I do use them very regularly because they're simple and they're super convenient, I'm not going to buy any more until there's an option that offers replaceable batteries. But speaking of things that I'm not going to not continue to enjoy, does that make sense? Thank you to everyone who helps support my channel through Patreon and YouTube channel memberships. I appreciate you and the fact that you help me to have the best job in the whole wide world.